each day. So much fun. If you'd like to join us this Thanksgiving week, our phone lines are always open. 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where you can watch the show streaming live via the Dano Cam, as well as on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, our YouTube channel as well. Please do like and subscribe the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. What isn't there to be thankful for, ladies and gentlemen? Many of you might be listening to me right now up in a hunting stand. You might have taken the entire week off. I've been loving all weekend seeing all of your pictures of the trophies you're taking home. All of you who are traveling today or getting together with family this Thanksgiving, I myself am hopping on a plane tomorrow, almost immediately after the show is over. So it's an extra short week for me. Packers just dominated the San Francisco 49ers, or at least something pretending to be the San Francisco 49ers. But we're not going to talk about the injuries being a factor. Packers look very, very much like a potential Super Bowl contender. Yes, I know San Francisco has struggled. Christian McCaffrey hurt all year. Purdy wasn't playing. Bosa. I get it. But the Packers look fantastic. And, oh, yeah, Republicans control all three branches of government for at least the next 2 years. I am also so thankful, ladies and gentlemen, that this is really the beginning of the holiday season. And yes, this is the week that I hope all of you are thinking about putting together your entries for the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special. December 23rd at 9 a.m., the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special stars you and your children, the members of Dan Nation who have been practicing all year long on their musical instruments or their song selection. They're singing. They're playing their instruments. They are giving the gift of music in a 2-hour special that will also air on WISN throughout Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as part of one of my favorite holiday traditions. Special Christmas programming, including classic radio plays, A Christmas Carol, Miracle on 34th Street, as well as It's a Wonderful Life, featuring the entire original movie cast. Sprinkled in with that, it is our Christmas special, and here's how it works. You email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, your child or children singing a Christmas song, playing their musical instrument, spreading the joy of music. Keep your submission to 2 minutes or under. Please do include in the email the name of the child or children that you're including, their ages, and where you live so we can introduce them. If you've got a relatively difficult to pronounce name, please do spell it phonetically for me or tell me how to pronounce it. If you are the conductor of a school band or orchestra, the director of a school choir or civic group, something like that, you can submit that to DOD@iHeartMedia.com. The only requirement is that we do want this to be kids. So under the age of 18, if they are 18, they should still be in high school. College kids, we love you, but this is just for the younger ones. As always, my family will be performing. My daughter is very, very excited. She learned how to play Silent Night, which traditionally closes out our special. My family plays Silent Night to end it, and we always have a lot of fun. So as you're going over the river and through the woods, grandmas, if the family is coming to your house, get out your phone, record them playing an instrument, singing a song, send it over to me so we can feature them this Christmas. A reminder, however, we are always bound by the constraints of time, so we can only guarantee that about the first 70 submissions will actually make it to the show. Everybody who submits, we're going to try to get into the podcast, and I'll play in the week leading up to Christmas, the 23rd, when the actual show premieres. But because we are going to have almost certainly so many people submitting by our deadline, which is December 15th, you've got to get it in by the end of that weekend, December 15th. Can't take anything after that, because I need that week to put together the show itself. We can only guarantee first 70 entries will get in. I want to get as many kids as I can. I want to get everybody, but sometimes that's just not feasible. So get those entries together, get them ready, send them to DOD@iHeartMedia.com. We are now almost exactly 3 weeks from Election Day, and one of the biggest surprises to me is 20 days following Trump's victory, 20 days following the Republican takeover of the Senate. They are holding the House by a narrow margin. 20 days, if you can believe that. A number of states are still counting votes. Now, I want to put it as a challenge to any liberal who thinks there is no election fraud whatsoever, that there are no attempts to cheat in America's elections. I want you to give me a valid reason why any state should still be counting ballots. Seriously. Any one. And in fact, there are nearly 10 who still have an appreciable number of ballots to count. Technically, there are still ballots in about 37 or 38 other states, including Wisconsin. Those typically are military ballots, which, if they're coming from the farthest flung places on Earth, there might be 10 to 12 still coming in. So while most states are still technically counting ballots, it's well less than 1,000. But California, Arizona, Utah, Washington, Oregon, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and New Jersey. As of the last check of all of those states on November 21st, 4 days ago, 16 days after Election Day, all of those states were still counting ballots. All of them. California has a county, Lake County, California, which has about 25,000 ballots total. So maybe like a Muskego, a New Berlin, somewhere in there, give or take. It's about that size. 25,000 ballots to count. 40% of Lake County, California's ballots are still uncounted. 40%. How is that possible? Argentina, which just elected a populist conservative who has just done wonders for that country in the brief time he's been in office. He's a big fan and friend of President Trump, Javier Milei. They counted 27 million ballots within 6 hours of the polls closing. 6. India is the second most populous country on earth. It might have now overtaken China as the most populous country on earth. There are 1 billion people in India. India recently had national elections. Guess how long it took to count 640 million ballots? 1 day. 640 million represents a number that is approximately double the population of the entire United States. 330 million, give or take. We might be up to closer to 340 million, but the number people typically go with, 330 million, is about the total population of the United States. Men, women, children, other. people who don't vote, obviously, we have about 130, 140, sometimes, as in the last 2 elections, 150 million ballots. We're still counting them. I would love to know what the excuse is, what a valid reason might be to still be counting ballots not a week later, which in some instances, North Carolina, you could give a pass to, right? Just a couple of weeks before Election Day, they had massive flooding in, was it Fayetteville? No, Fayetteville. That's in Arkansas. Asheville, Asheville, North Carolina, and much of the western part of the state saw massive flooding as a result of Hurricane Helene. You could give them a pass. California, a week later, okay, they've got a big population. Sure, they allow absentee ballots to come in later. Yeah, okay. 3 weeks later, and you've still got roughly 10% of California's ballots left to count. If you were trying to go that slow, I'm not sure you could. Is everybody counting ballots in California like the sloth at the DMV in the movie Zootopia? There is no reason, except the obvious reason, to still be counting ballots this late. Now, lest you think that California doesn't really matter, and it doesn't in terms of presidential elections. It's always going to go Democrat. But there are still 2 congressional races that are left to be called, both of which happen to be in California, and both of which have seen the Republicans' lead dramatically sliced. It's not just, okay, well, Republicans typically don't do as well in absentee voting and mail-in voting. California has a lot of mail-in votes. Remember, how many Pinocchios or pants on fire ratings did Eric Hovde get when he said, well, I got 72% of the vote that came in on Election Day in the city of Milwaukee, but 90%, or my opponent got 72%, 90% of the vote that came in was against me in the late night mail dump. Weird. Oh, well, no. That's reflective of the normal course of doing things. In all of the ballots that were counted in one of those 2 races in California, they have gone to the Democrat to the tune of about 95%. As of Saturday, there is one of those 2 congressional races in which they have had ballot dumps pretty much every day or 2. So every day that they're continuing to count this race, there has been a ballot dump, right? Would you believe the Republican has not won one of those ballot dumps since exactly 1:20 a.m. on election night? Every time, more ballots keep coming in. This is in the 45th congressional race in California. California has a staggering number of seats in Congress. Michelle Steele is a Republican incumbent. Derek Tran is her opponent. They still have, in this congressional district, an estimated 3,700 votes to count. Steele went from up by about 2 to 3 points on election night to now trailing 50.1% to 49.9%. She is now trailing by less than 1,000 votes after the trickle of votes that have come in, not in the days after Election Day. She was still leading. Not in a week after Election Day. She was still leading. But long about 6 days ago, Tran, the Democrat, took the lead. I, again, am challenging anyone to explain this to me without the obvious explanation being included. Is it possible to do so? Seriously. What possible reason could you have to still be counting votes? Now, California does something rather unique, which makes this sort of thing not just constantly a problem, but an inevitability. We will get into that coming up next when the Dan O'Donnell Show continues.
The Dan O'Donnell Show.
We'll be right back.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers.
We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the lakeshores of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota.
The fertile fields of Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa to the wide open plains of North and South Dakota.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellenbecker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
Real feedback from Brookfield and Mequon's Reset Restore MD patient.
My daughter's intravenous ketamine treatments made a significant difference in just 2 weeks.
R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
Hey, if you need to sell your home without all the headaches most people experience, you have a great American right in your backyard that I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Just go to wihomeeval.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
Slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Here's why money Warshevsky.
This is where sycophants and chills are shunned, and commitment to the unvarnished truth is sustained. Just one reason that this is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN. Liars, cheats, Democratic politicians, liberal media types. Instead, listen to this.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, classical conservatism, contemporary style on this Thanksgiving week. We do say thanks to loyal listeners like Tony, who emails, "Hey Dan, listen to your show every day here in Dallas. I'm a Milwaukee transplant, but it's part of my day. Thank you, Tony." No, thank you, Tony, for listening each and every day. All of you who make this show a part of your day, we couldn't possibly thank you enough for all the blessings that this is bestowed upon my family, from my family, and the Dan O'Donnell Show family to yours. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. California, as well as 7 other states, have something that I still can't believe is constitutionally permissible. The only goal seems to be getting as many ballots out into public as possible without any possibility of ever getting them tracked, ever getting them notarized, ever getting them properly counted. It is called universal mail-in or all mail-in voting. California, Colorado, Hawaii, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, Vermont, and Washington State simply mail ballots to every eligible voter. Notice I said every eligible voter, not necessarily every registered voter. Now, what happens if you don't want a ballot? What happens if you make the decision that you really don't care too much about the democratic process, or you're so disgusted with the entire thing, you don't want to take part? You're making a statement about the corruption of American government that you are a conscientious objector to democracy. Doesn't matter, you still get a ballot. You can imagine how difficult this must be, especially when many of those states allow those ballots to be mailed in up to 2 weeks after Election Day. They don't have Election Day anymore. They have election periods. So many ballots come in at so many different times that deadlines are essentially meaningless. Ballot counts can just sort of dramatically increase at random. That's sort of the point. I was highlighting before the break the California 45th congressional race because this is so emblematic of the problems that this poses. Michelle Steele is a Republican incumbent. She was leading, but ballot dumps conducted every single day. So every single day in this congressional district, mailed ballots are coming in. She has not won one of those ballot dumps since 1:20 a.m. on election night. What are the odds of that? No matter where you go in the district, there are more votes coming in for Derek Tran. Now, you might be saying, well, Dan, this is probably an overwhelmingly Democratic district. No, Michelle Steele is actually the incumbent. This is a relatively even district. If anything, I think it maybe tilts Republican a little bit. And actually, California, we've got some stats to show you that California led the way in shifting to the right. California produced a greater increase in raw votes for Donald Trump than any other state. No real surprise because it was an election that really did trend red. I won't call it a red wave, and Democrats are desperate not to call this a Trump landslide, but it would make sense. If the entire country is shifting to the right, California, with more raw votes than any other state in the country by far, would probably lead the way. It wasn't a lead in the percentage of votes that moved right, but it was a lead in the raw number of votes. Yet weirdly, the votes that keep coming in keep trending Democrat. In fact, everywhere in all of these states, you'll notice that President Trump's lead has really declined. Sure, Trump has increased his vote total as more of these votes have come in long after Election Day. But now the narrative is that Trump has the smallest victory since the 1800s. How can you possibly say that Trump has a mandate to govern when he only won the popular vote by a tiny little margin? Democrats are desperate, by the way, to get Trump under that magic number of 50% in the popular vote, because then they can say, well, the majority of the country didn't vote for this. One of their narratives for the past almost 20 years was that Republicans can't win the popular vote. This proves that Republicans, that conservatism is a minority viewpoint, that we are the majority in this country, that we need to just disregard the Electoral College, that the Electoral College is anti-democratic, that we need to go to a national popular vote. And then Trump did something that was thought to be potentially unthinkable. He won the popular vote. But Democrats still can't allow him to go into his term with a governing margin, with a margin that allows the American people to think, okay, he won, and we want him to do exactly what he promised. Mass deportations, which you can already see is the first big battle that they're going to fight. Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, saying we're not going to cooperate. The mayor of Boston saying we're not going to cooperate with mass deportations. The mayor of Denver says I'm willing to go to jail to stop mass deportations. I'm reminded of the movie Inglourious Bastards. Sorry about the relatively naughty language. The German soldier who refuses to give any information, and Brad Pitt's character says, "This man wants to die. Oblige him." And they bring out the dude with the baseball bat, and, well, it's Quentin Tarantino, so you could imagine what happens next. This guy wants to go to jail. Oblige him. But Democrats don't want Trump to be able to do anything that he promised to do, and the way they think they can do it, the way they can salvage some small victory out of the jaws of overwhelming, crushing defeat is by cutting into his vote margin and say, well, he didn't win by that much. He didn't win by that much. Universal mail-in voting allows them to do this. More importantly, I want you to think about what would happen not just in the universal mail-in states, which are all overwhelmingly Democratic, except Utah. Utah, what are you doing out there? Is every Republican elected in the state of Utah like a Mitt Romney Republican? Sadly, Romney was a very, very conservative guy when he ran for president, when he was governor. And I don't know what happened if Trump destroyed his brain like so many other good conservatives, or those who we thought were good conservatives. But nonetheless, it's not just the overwhelmingly liberal states that you do universal mail-in voting. I want you to think back to 2020. What were states still doing well after the election? What were we told, and have continued to be told, is just totally normal? It's expected that votes are going to come in late, that counts are going to last for days, and that Trump might have a red mirage. He might look like he's winning on election night. I'm telling you, folks, this has stuck in my craw since the Harris campaign released it. It was about the Thursday before the election. And the Harris campaign said, watch out, because Donald Trump is going to try to prematurely declare victory on election night. This is what allowed me to, I think I was one of the only people in the country who was pointing out Trump's strategy with his campaign visits in the final weekend of the campaign showed exactly what his strategy was. He was setting up shop in Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, not because he thought he was trailing in those states, but because he wanted to run up the score. He wanted to make it, as he put it, too big to rig, so that it would be impossible for those states to say, wait, we've still got to count absentee ballots for the next 6 days. But could you imagine if Trump didn't have such a big victory? Harris's campaign telegraphed exactly what was going to happen. They would not allow Trump to declare victory because he would be within what I have long called the fraud margin. It's about 1% of the vote in whatever state or whatever district or wherever. That is the amount of ballots that bad actors could realistically manufacture or defraud. Hey, what do you know, in Wisconsin, Trump won by more than 1%. Guess who lost statewide by less than 1%? Weird how that works, Eric Hovde. Universal mail-in balloting makes that fraud margin far greater. Because if there are just ballots in every corner of the state, even in places where people might or might not live, you just sign up. By the way, do you know how much you have to pay to mail in your ballot, the postage? Free. You don't need to address it. You don't need to just dump it anywhere in a drop box, in a mailbox, wherever. And they can be collected weeks after Election Day. So what happens when the counts are kept open, when the results aren't posted, when you can just kind of find ballots magically that just sort of come in, there's no real check as to who filled them out or how or when or where the ballot actually came from. This is what happened. This is what happened in 2020. It's exactly what happened. And you know what I'm most thankful for this Thanksgiving? That Trump really did make it too big to rig. That you folks really internalized the directive to get out and vote early, to make sure we didn't just flood the polls but swamped them, that there was no possibility that they could say, oh, well, Wisconsin, you know, we got to keep counting those ballots. Milwaukee, man, oh, man, they got a ton of them. We got to keep counting until Thursday. Wisconsin isn't nearly as bad as California, but it's still in need of reform. State law must be changed. I'm not necessarily sure there's anything that can be done at the federal level because states do have sovereignty in running their own elections. But I guarantee in federal elections, there is some reasonable limit that the Congress and the president can put on how long these states can continue to count their ballots. Because ultimately, eventually, we do have to know who's elected to Congress and will go when the votes are finally certified. A potential solution to this coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. Everybody loves this month. Thanksgiving, right? But don't forget Black Friday. It's the time of the year where you can get some amazing deals. Well, at the Lynch family of dealerships, they've got Black Friday savings all month long. Lynch has restocked its inventory so you can shop over 1,300 vehicles either on the ground or online at shoplynch.com. They've got trucks, cars, SUVs for the family. But the best part is there's no need to wait for hours in line or to put yourself in danger at a department store or big box store because the Lynch family has your back. Black Friday savings all month long. Plus, you get your windshield and paint protected to get ready for those brutal winter months coming up. And that's why I highly recommend the Lynch family of dealerships. Best place to start shopping right now, shoplynch.com. That's shoplynch.com.
It was a doozy, all right. Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too many drinks, and a gal who felt compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, host of the Designer Yard Show and owner of Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services. Allow me to start by apologizing for the use of a four-letter word in this commercial. If you don't like four-letter words, you might want to turn down your volume. All right, are we good? Snow. There, I said it. One of my duties at Seasonal Services is to plan for winter and the onslaught of snow and ice. Are you responsible for securing a snow removal and ice control contractor for your commercial property? Now is the time to act. If you wait, you may be too late to secure one of southeastern Wisconsin's best snow and ice removal contractors. So if you own or manage a commercial property in Waukesha or western Milwaukee counties, please call Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services. We have been providing snow removal and ice control services for 25 years, and we are really good at keeping your commercial property safe. 262-392-3444 or online at seasonalservices.com.
This Thanksgiving, spend more time with your loved ones and leave the meal preparation to us. At Sendik's, we offer full traditional turkey dinners or just the sides, all homemade in-store, then packed in reheatable containers. Choose from a wide selection of gourmet appetizers and signature trays, too. Spend less time in the kitchen and more time with family this holiday season. Reserve your meal at Sendix.com/holiday. From our family to yours, have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Sendix Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you. It's deer season in Wisconsin, but I'm not talking about hunting. I'm talking, unfortunately, about car crashes. If you're unlucky and get into a collision with a deer, you could be entered into Mander's Hit a Deer, Win a Deer contest. That's deer as in John Deere, as in a brand new John Deere tractor mower. My friends at Mander want to add some positivity to what can be a stressful, traumatic event. So now through February 28th, anyone who hits a deer and has their vehicle repaired at any Mander Collision location will be entered into a drawing for a new Deere tractor. Hit a Deer, Win a Deer, now through February 28th at all Mander locations. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Steinhoffel's biggest Black Friday sale ever is happening now. Take $100 off every $14.99. Plus, get a $100 MasterCard for every $14.99 you spend. Or choose Steinhoffel's 0% 60-month financing. Save big on all the best mattress brands. And find amazing Black Friday doorbusters, like a recliner just $199. Sofas starting at only $299. Shop in-store and online at steinhoffels.com. Steinhoffel's Black Friday sale. 1 week only.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Had enough of this country? Ever dreamt about starting your own?
I planted the flag. This is mine. I own this.
It's surprisingly easy.
55 gallons of water, 500 pounds of concrete.
Or maybe not.
No country willingly gives up their territory.
Oh my God.
What is that?
Bullets.
Listen to Escape from Zakistan on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Escape from Zakistan to start listening.
It is hard to overstate just how effective Ron DeSantis has been as governor of Florida. One of the biggest things he's done is dramatically streamline Florida's elections, even more so than over the previous 10 years. Florida, remember, was the laughingstock of America following the 2020 presidential election. The hanging Chads, the dimpled Chads, the pregnant Chads, the Giga Chads. Do you know what a Giga Chad is? No? I think I am a Giga Chad. It is a white alpha male who is typically conservative, good-looking. Yeah, Giga Chad. If you're a Chad, you're like a cool bro, kind of frat boy guy. No, I'm not. I'm a Kyle? Chad is really taken off. Yeah, there's just certain names like Karen, which I've never liked the word Karen because one of our great family friends is named Karen. Actually, 2 great family friends that I can think of are both named Karen. One of whom is one of my mom's best friends. She listens like every single day. She's about the nicest woman you could ever possibly meet. She's the farthest thing from a Karen. Chad just sounds like, yeah, cool guy, Chad. Like, there's another name. You hear the name, and I'm sorry because I know there are like 3 or 4 people named Bruce who are big listeners of mine. I'm sorry. For like 20 years, Bruce has been like the name you associate with a gay man, right? You didn't hear this. The name Bruce. You had an Uncle Bruce? You do know 2 of the Bruces. I know 2 of them you immediately thought of, right? And I'm sorry to both. No, they're like men's men, but like Bruce, it's, there's kind of a stereotype of like the rugged flannel wearing, bearded dude or mustached dude. Bruce, I don't know, leather wearing, goes out to clubs. I just looked at my wardrobe. I am wearing flannel. And I haven't really shaved. I sort of have a mustache. I may right now be more Bruce than Chad, but I don't even know where I was going with this. What I was saying is that Florida has really revamped its election. Oh, yeah, the pregnant Chads. now, some dude named Chad really can get pregnant, according to the left, and we'll even make an emoji out of him. Thank you very much, Apple. So Florida totally overhauled its elections. In early 2001, it set massively different requirements. And those have been, over the intervening 23 years, continually sort of tweaked. Until now, Florida is by far the best state in the country. It's the 3rd most populous state in the nation, behind only Texas and California. It has every single one of its ballots, with, again, some small exceptions, military ballots, overseas ballots, tiny percentages that could never, ever swing a statewide race. 99% plus of all of Florida's ballots are counted, logged, and reported within an hour and a half of the polls closing on election night. This has been constant since 2012. Even though Florida has gone from the ultimate swing state, now it's very, very Republican. In 2018, Ron DeSantis won the governorship by less than 1%. Yet the votes were still counted very quickly. When DeSantis took over, he further made it easier for municipalities and counties to report, and he further put in reporting requirements that you had to have all your votes totaled and reported within an hour and a half of the polls closing. That's a requirement. I believe there is no reason that can't be done nationwide. There are constitutional questions about how much Congress can regulate states' elections, but I believe the Supreme Court would rule that because Congress does essentially have a right to know who's going to be in Congress, right? Because these are federal elections, because this impacts the federal government for federal elections, I think the United States government needs to look to Florida to lead. We will name the unhinged liberal of the day. I got a little ahead of myself and played the wrong music. Coming up next, we'll also check in with Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management.
The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Thinkability Wisconsin is committed to assisting employers in hiring people with disabilities. Katie Melnight-Meisinger is the COO of Rely Contract Manufacturing, and she found solid benefits hiring through Thinkability.
So they are some of the most loyal folks on the face of the planet, and I can tell you right now that is very, very rare to find in manufacturing. The other piece is they have perfect attendance.
People with disabilities have much to offer in the workplace. Let Thinkability Wisconsin help you secure these valuable employees. ThinkAbilityWI.org.
Are you ready to score big this football season? Thielman Group is heating things up with a sweepstakes that'll have you cheering louder than a stadium crowd. The rivalry between Green Bay and Chicago is legendary, just like the services provided by the Thielman Group. Imagine this: 4 Green Bay versus Chicago tickets for the grand prize winner. Yes, you heard right. Gather your friends for the ultimate game day experience. But wait, there's more. Our runner-up doesn't go home empty-handed. How about 2 tickets to see Green Bay take on Chicago Chicago. And for our third place winner, ensure your home air quality is as perfect as a touchdown with the Patriot Indoor Air Quality System. Whether you're a die-hard football fan or a homeowner looking for comfort, Thielman Group has you covered. Gear up, enter now, and get ready to cheer on your team like never before. For more info, go online to thielmangroup.com. That's Thielman with 2 N's, group.com. Thielman Group, Southeast Wisconsin's premier HVAC provider, making your home comfortable and your game days unforgettable.
It's your last chance. Menards 11% rebate ends soon. Wrap up those big projects before the holidays. Weatherproof in style with new Mastercraft exterior doors. Customize your kitchen with Clearview cabinetry. It's time to pick up those new appliances or start your big garage project. Don't miss out. The 11% rebate ends Thanksgiving. Stores closed Thanksgiving Day. 11% mail-in rebate is a merchandise credit check. Good on future in-store purchases. See menards.com for details.
Save big money at Menards.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx, save you a lot of money. Save that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISCWAY. Connect today. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Tired of guessing when your meat, chicken, or fish is perfectly cooked? With Chef IQ Sense, the wireless cooking thermometer, you'll always know the exact temperature for safe, delicious results. No more hovering or stressing. Just set your desired doneness and let Chef IQ Sense and its app guide you step by step, alerting you when it's time to flip or remove from heat. Make every meal a masterpiece with the Chef IQ Sense wireless cooking thermometer. Find Chef IQ Sense at Costco or visit chefiq.com today.
I remember a guy by the name of Al Stankovich. Oh, yes.
Ben and Arvid Huth, brothers and owners of Penny Mustard Furnishings.
I have never seen children so well behaved as his children. And I remember saying to him, wow, your kids are well behaved. He looked at me and said, well, we work on it. His son looked at me and says, yep, he works on it. I'll never forget that line from his son, who was maybe 8, 9 years old at the time. But Al and his wife bought, it was the first big bedroom set we ever sold. It was the Paramount bedroom set. It was a beautiful bedroom set we had at the time, made in Spencer, Wisconsin. I don't think he knew, and I think we were scared to tell him that it was the biggest sale we ever made at the point in time, but it was an absolute huge sale. I think we were dancing after he walked out the door.
Well, I think we were in the store at 11:30 or midnight, just visiting with them. They're just
nice people,
really nice people, and it was just one of the perfect all-around transactions.
Yes.
Nice people,
good customer, just a good guy. His wife was really nice.
Yep.
I remember that sale.
I delivered that.
See more at pennymustard.com.
When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlands.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands. You're due for service.
Richlands.
Show. We will push back the unhinged liberal of the day. I've been waffling on whether I wanted to do this as unhinged liberal of the day or epic Trump meltdown. It was a rant on X that just went totally viral. You're laughing. Did you see this? Dave says, I punted on Unhinged Liberal for time, but now I'm telling you what I'm not doing with the Unhinged Liberal of the day, leaving no time for Dave Spano. I'm definitely not stalling because I don't want to talk about Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary, who is a Soros protege that I can't believe was picked. All right, Spano. We got to talk about Scott Bessent, don't we?
Well, why are you not excited about this? He says George Soros, he was chief investment officer for Soros and lives with his husband and their 2 children. Doesn't sound like a typical MAGA Trump pick, but this guy is really, really dialed in and seems to be on the surface the right guy for the job. I mean, think what he's got coming in, Dan. I mean, he has got a lot that he's got in front of him, including extending the tax cut. You've got to have deregulation. You've got to reduce the deficit. You've got extend the income taxes. I mean, this man's going to have a plate full. You know, one of the things that he's going to implement is this thing that he's calling the 3 arrows. Now, does he get away with it? Well, I don't know. This is what the Japanese tried to do, and that was deficit reduction of 3%. Increasing the GDP by 3%, and increasing production of oil by 3 million barrels a day. If that happens, you're going to get pretty close to a balanced budget. I mean, that's not a bad thing, DOD.
No, it's not. But, you know, let's just say I trust Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk to get me there through Doge far more than I trust a Soros guy. Look, I'm going back to the old Seinfeld line. He's married to a man with his kids. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
In fact, the first openly gay cabinet pick in history was, in fact, Donald Trump's, who is about as loyal to Trump as it gets. Any association with Soros, I'm sorry, is a huge red flag. Soros isn't just a lib. He is a destabilizing force, and we have seen this. In fact, you can pin more than any other human being the massive spike in crime on George Soros with his swooping in and funding DA candidates to the tune of millions of dollars that no opponent could ever keep up. He's installing people who have been decriminalizing crime for 10 years. I mean, I can't believe that someone from his orbit, let alone someone as close to him as Bessent is, would even be considered for this.
He's expanding the tent, Dan. I mean,
look, there's some. You expand the tent, but ultimately the circus keeps the elephant dung outside and scoops it up and throws it out, right? Like, I'm sorry. Now, Scott Bessent might turn out to be the greatest secretary in the history of secretaries, and this is, see, you got me going, Spano.
I knew I would. And by the way, I'm looking at the clock, so just so you know, we're going to have one heck of a podcast.
Yes, we are.
Because I got you fired up.
You know why? Because especially during a holiday week, I don't want people complaining to me about ripping on Trump for one of his picks. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Tad Allen. The owner of a historic mansion in Burlington destroyed by fire is in jail. Police arrested Robert Staten Friday morning after his mansion at Kane and Chandler in Burlington was gutted by the blaze. Officers arrested Staten for negligent handling of burning materials, unsafe burning of own building, as well as resisting arrest and felony bail jumping. No one's saying just how the home caught fire or what Staten was burning. He was listed in custody in Racine County. Prosecutors say they're looking at formal charges this week. Another update on the future of the University of Wisconsin is upcoming. UW President Jay Rothman is set to be one of the featured speakers at tomorrow's Future of Higher Education seminar hosted by the Wisconsin Tech Council. It's not clear if Rothman has anything new to say, but it'll be his first public speech since the university released its full 2024 enrollment numbers. The head of Wisconsin's technical college system is also scheduled to speak. Rothman has said the UW must adapt and get more money if it's going to compete in the war for talent. Forecasters are saying Thanksgiving travel could be messy this year because of the weather. AAA says 80 million Americans are expected to travel at least 50 miles from their homes over the holidays, and some travelers will be heading into rainy weather and heavy snow. From the Northeast to the Great Lakes, rain and snow could be mixed with some of the coldest weather of the year so far. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, the Packers next prepare for a Thanksgiving night matchup at Lambeau Field with the Dolphins after pounding the 49ers yesterday. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve at Reset Restore MD IV Ketamine Therapy Centers. IV ketamine is superior to ketamine lozenges. If you suffer with depression, anxiety, or PTSD, listen to real R&R MD patient feedback.
My treatments helped greatly reduce and eliminate my chronic back pain.
I've tried many therapies for depression, and this has been the most impactful. The environment is relaxing, and the staff are incredibly kind.
Amazing, life-changing, wonderful. Dr. Jennifer changed my life for the better with ketamine infusions.
R&R MD helped me deal with anxiety and be more calm with hectic things going on. Years of talk therapy can't do what this did in a few sessions.
Intravenous ketamine infusions take about an hour at our Brookfield or Mequon R&R MD locations. Relief can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com. That's rnrmd.com.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Some light to moderate fog possible this morning. Otherwise, we'll be tracking cloudy skies with some scattered showers during the afternoon. A few snowflakes could mix in, but no impacts expected. Highs today will be early in the upper 40s with falling temperatures during the afternoon as a cold front moves through. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop Grand Appliance for early access to Black Friday doorbusters, like Bosch dishwasher starting at just $347 after rebate. Visit grandappliance.com for full details. That's Grand Appliance, the appliance expert since 1930.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, host of the Designer Yard Show and owner of Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services. Allow me to start by apologizing for the use of a four-letter word in this commercial. If you don't like four-letter words, you might want to turn down your volume. All right, are we good? Snow. There, I said it. One of my duties at Seasonal Services is to plan for winter and the onslaught of snow and ice. Are you responsible for securing a snow removal and ice control contractor for your commercial property? Now is the time to act. If you wait, you may be too late to secure one of southeastern Wisconsin's best snow and ice removal contractors. So if you own or manage a commercial property in Waukesha or western Milwaukee counties, please call Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services. We have been providing snow removal and ice control services for 25 years, and we are really good at keeping your commercial property safe. 262-392-3444 or online at seasonalservices.com.
Hot summer night. Lightning strike. Down goes the tree, right through their bedroom wall, nearly ruining a walnut headboard, which is pretty hard wood. Fortunately, the customers were okay. But the headboard? That wasn't. Until they called us. We made that Victorian headboard better than new. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing, repair, and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY Finishing.com.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. If it seems rain hangs around your home coming down as insidiously delicate droplets, or in buckets, and if neither, rain tends to lurk suspiciously in the atmosphere around your house, you probably have a wet, mildewy, leaky basement with cracked walls. No basement wall or foundation repair is too big or small for Ryan Waterproofing. We won't be the most expensive. The larger the job, the more you'll save with Ryan. We've eliminated bowed walls, cracks, spalling, seepage, and flooding in Coast Guard stations, museums, and countless Wisconsin homes. Ryan's waterproofing experts show up on time and do exactly what we say we're going to do, eliminating your water problems, restoring your home, even ending your negative obsession with rain. Imagine looking out the window for rainbows rather than obsessing about your basement walls and floors next time, every time it rains. Free estimates, affordable financing. Because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing, call Ryan.com. That's callRION.com.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
All season long, when you want to hear about the Packers or listen to the games live, tune in to our sister station, the Packers Flagship, 97.3, The Game.
This week, Americans gather with loved ones to celebrate Thanksgiving.
We are very blessed to call this nation our home.
As we gather together this Thanksgiving to ask the Lord's blessings, let us thank Him for our peace, prosperity, and freedom.
Let us give thanks for all that we have, and let us boldly face the exciting new frontiers that lie ahead.
It's Thanksgiving. We're gonna have a good time. It's Thanksgiving. We are gonna have a good time. The turkey, mashed potatoes, we are gonna have a good time. The turkey, mashed potatoes, it's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving.
You know what producer Dave is most thankful for? We only play this song 1 week a year. It's become a Dan O'Donnell Show tradition. Nicole Westbrook with her immortal classic, It's Thanksgiving. It is the O'Donnell family's official Thanksgiving anthem. This was back in the early 2010s. It was the same producer who did Rebecca Black's It's Friday. He had a business model going where rich families would pay him thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and he'd write songs for them and produce music videos. His name was Patrice something or other. The only problem was the first two girls, Rebecca Black, who did It's Friday, and Nicole Westbrook, who did It's Thanksgiving, sucked so bad and became such viral stars for all the wrong reasons. People forgot about Nicole Westbrook, but Rebecca Black and It's Friday just lived on with the way that It's Friday. She just did not have much talent. In fact, Rebecca Black, who is now probably in her mid-20s, maybe upper 20s, she's spoken out about just how traumatic it was to be a 12-year-old girl and be bullied by the entire internet. And, you know, normally, oh, who cares? It's all that. Just imagine being 12. Imagine, I mean, I've got kids right around that age. Just imagine if it wasn't just the kids at school being mean to you online, but the entire world. So Patrice's business, unfortunately, sort of went under. I'm told he's still a music producer, but his $1 million idea of getting people to pay him to turn their little girls into pop stars really didn't work out. So we've turned this into the show open for the Dan O'Donnell Show each and every Thanksgiving week. Another tradition that is one of my absolute favorites. Each and every day, the last day that I'm here before Thanksgiving, which is going to be tomorrow, we play in its entirety Rush Limbaugh reciting his version of the very first Thanksgiving. It's 12 minutes a year in which the late, great El Rushbo lives again. It's our eternal tribute to him to say thanks for everything he did in the wonderful life that he lived, for educating all of us. And it's really an homage to the power of how much radio and how much conservatism unites generations. Because I will never forget when my son, who's now 17, my gosh, that sounds old when I say it, but then again, I'm really old. I'm looking at my phone to try to send some text out, and during the news break, I'm thinking, you know what I really want for Christmas this year? More reading classes. I can't really do work on my phone. I had to graduate to my iPad, and I'm doing work. I'm getting ready for the show last night. I'm kind of, sitting up with my father-in-law watching Sunday Night Football, watching Saquon Barkley absolutely dominate and get me a win in our work fantasy football league. Thank you so much, Saquon. He's got my vote for MVP. But I'm realizing I can't read the text on the stupid iPad. And I am too proud, far too proud, to make the text size or the font size on my iPad and iPhone bigger. So I'd prefer, if you're looking to get something for your favorite radio host, Dollar Tree readers. I only need the smallest amount of magnification, at least right now. It's like 0.25. Yeah. I think I'm going to stop. I got to get ready for, I got to pack. I've got to run some errands, all the stuff you got to do before you go out of town. I think I need to stop at the Dollar Tree and pick up more of their readers because I couldn't find mine last night. I'm like, my goodness, I can't read a darn thing on this iPad. But yes, our Rush Limbaugh tradition continues probably in the 10 o'clock hour. I would say in the beginning of the 10 o'clock hour tomorrow, we are going to be airing Rush Limbaugh. I believe this was, if it wasn't the final time he did it, I believe it was one of the final times he did it. And the reason that this really stuck with me is I remember listening to this when I was first getting into talk radio, post 9/11. I heard this Thanksgiving. I was hooked. I'll never forget it. I was buying pies. I had to go to Baker's Square and get an apple pie and a pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving the following day. I was tasked with getting this for the family. And as I was driving, I hear Rush do the true story of the first Thanksgiving, and I was hooked. I was transfixed. I was sitting in the Baker's Square parking lot for probably 15 minutes. I'm sure they're wondering, where's this dude picking up the pies he just ordered? But years later, I'm with my son, who's now 17. He had to be 10, 11, so a while ago. And we were buying a Christmas tree. He's allergic to the pine needles, so we had to get a fake Christmas tree. Just like me years earlier, we sit in the Steins parking lot, and we're getting ready to go. And he goes, no, Dad, wait, I want to hear the end of this. And we sat for 10, 15 minutes and listened to Rush. And I hope that you will have that with your kids, that you will be able to share the magic of just radio done right. It was the secret to Paul Harvey's success all those years. It was just he would deliver the news, yes, but also the rest of the story in such a way that inspired you, that just made you glad you were able to hear that really gave you something that you were able to take with you. And I can't tell you, obviously Rush taught entire generations, multiple generations, about conservatism, about good government, about the Constitution. What did he call it? The Rush Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. Class was in session 3 hours every single weekday. And, what did he say? There is no graduation because the learning never stops. Well, it turns out that even now, almost 4 years after his passing, which also seems like just an amazing amount of time. It's remarkable how much has gone on in those 4 years. Even 4 years after his passing, the learning still has not stopped. So listen for that tomorrow. Dan O'Donnell Show about 10:06. AdventNows.com talk and text line 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X and Facebook. Watch the show on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast on iHeartRadio. Now, one of our other favorite traditions on Thanksgiving week has always been the genre of journalism where media entities just assume that their readers or their viewers are stupid and couldn't possibly argue with their Trump-supporting uncles. So they would put out guide after guide after guide. How to win an argument with your Trump-supporting uncle or your conservative uncle at Thanksgiving. Like clockwork, these articles appeared. Except this year. What's going on this year is something totally different. It's a normalization within the media, at least the left-wing corners of it, of just avoiding family at Thanksgiving and Christmas and all together because you disagree about politics, because your vote as a Trump voter, as a Republican voter, is a vote that makes them less safe. That the leftist family member in your life doesn't just disagree with you. It's no longer about winning an argument. And I think you could, Dave, you have been with me for what, 7 years, right? 6, 7 years at least?
18.
Yeah, 2018, 6 years. We have been every time one of these articles would come out, we'd have fun with it. We'd make fun of it. We use the It's Thanksgiving song as, a bumper music to introduce it. We don't have those anymore. At least not nearly in the numbers we did, because the art of argument has disappeared in favor of not just perpetual offense at any thought that might counter one of yours, but the idea that you thinking the way you do, you voting the way you do, is physically harmful to somebody. So harmful, in fact, that they are justified in cutting you out of their lives. This almost rivals transgender, gender-affirming surgery as being psychologically harmful to people who really can't afford to be cutting off, well, nobody can afford to be cutting off your you-know-what in gender-affirming surgeries, but cutting off the support networks that they desperately need. Anyone who is so unglued about politics or who truly believes that Donald Trump is going to be rounding up gay people to put in the most festive camps known to man is not balanced. They're not sane. Anyone who thinks that women are all of a sudden going to die because of back alley abortions, abortion has been illegal in several states for 2 years now. The best example they could come up with was that woman in Georgia, remember, who died from taking an abortion pill. She didn't die because she went into an alley with a coat hanger. She didn't die because she didn't have proper care. She died because of an adverse reaction to an abortion pill. It's the one example they've been able to come up with in 2 years. But yet somehow Trump is going to usher in this dystopian nightmare for women, even though something like 40% of his cabinet is women. His chief of staff, who basically runs the day-to-day operations of the White House, is a woman. The person he trusted to run his campaign, one of the more effective in political history, I think, a woman, also tapped her, Susie Wiles, to be the chief of staff. It doesn't make any sense. But this idea that Trump and your support of him is so harmful that you should isolate yourself from your family, that you should just sit alone on Thanksgiving and sulk and watch MSNBC while you still can before Elon Musk buys it and turns it over to Alex Jones, which might actually be the funniest possible thing that could happen. Speaking of MSNBC, current star, and I say current because she certainly might not be a part of MSNBC's future if Comcast really does spin it off and sell it to the highest bidder, she's echoing this sentiment, saying that your liberal relatives, Trump supporters, are actually scared of you. They're scared of you. I'm telling you, as nutty as Joy Reid's talk show is, it has nothing compared to her TikTok account. Here, take a listen to this.
People are rightfully alarmed. They have a reason to be alarmed. And if you would vote for that, people may not feel so confident that they're safe with you. This is not crazy. This is legitimate feelings of fear of you and a feeling that you might not be someone they could trust. If this thing goes way south, autocracies go south real fast, and things get ugly, and people get asked to do things and turn people in and point people out and turn on them. And if you're voting affirmatively, gleefully for this, people might, may not feel so confident in you anymore. That's real, and you kind of have to live with it. So if you think that you can vote for what people see as their destruction and then demand that they still are cool with you and kiki with you and have Thanksgiving with you, I think you're kind of missing the point of what people are upset about. They're afraid. And autocracy and fascism are things that are legitimate to be afraid of. So you may want to step back.
That's the worst advice you could possibly give. Not find common ground, agree to disagree, welcome people who think differently from you to enrich your worldview by listening to viewpoints and arguments that you might not have considered. No, cut all of those people out of your life simply for the thought crime of not agreeing with you on literally everything. I'll bet you there are, I'm going to go with 75% of people in this listening audience can think of one person who has, maybe not explicitly, but your relationship with them has been altered. They haven't said, I'm cutting you out of it. I am excommunicating with you because you are just so dangerous because you voted differently than me. But I'm willing to wager 3/4 of this audience has somebody for whom the relationship has changed because of politics. I'm going to explore this in a little bit greater depth. Boy, what is it with me? I'm like half on vacation already. I keep pushing the wrong button to play the music. All I want to do is go to commercial. We'll be right back. I'm going to explore this in a little bit greater depth.
Follow Dan on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
By now, you've probably figured out what's most important to us at Semperfi is our reputation. Building a great character-driven remodeling company is actually quite easy. It's just the first 20 years that are a bit challenging. Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation, but they only come after you've built something they want to be part of. We don't necessarily have to look for good people. They come to us. And that's what you want when you hire an exterior remodeling company. Someone who's going to stand behind their work, and a company that is truly proud of their people. And it's because they do great work. And when you're ready, we'll do great work for you too. This is Brad Youngluth with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semperfi.
I remember a guy by the name of Al Stankovich.
Oh, yes. Ben and Arvid from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Al and his wife bought, it was the first big bedroom set we ever sold. It was the Paramount bedroom set. I don't think he knew, and I think we were scared to tell him that it was the biggest sale we ever made at the point in time. I think we were dancing after he walked out the door.
I think we were in the store at 11:30 or midnight, just visiting with them. They're just really,
nice people.
Really nice people, and it was just one of them perfect all-around transactions.
I remember that sale.
I delivered that.
PennyMustard.com.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Have a holly jolly Christmas.
The free iHeartRadio app loaded up with holiday cheer. Listen to iHeart Christmas playing nonstop holiday music commercial free. Some might call it a Christmas miracle.
Christmas, I give you my heart.
iHeart Christmas is the perfect soundtrack to your holidays. Open the free iHeart app and search Holiday now. Free never sounded so good.
Top of the morning to you. Conservative thought, not just talk.
Top of the morning to you.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Top of the morning to you.
One of the things that is really an epidemic in America that's not talked about a lot is loneliness. More people than ever are living alone. They're not getting married. They're not having families. And they're isolating themselves from a whole lot of people who once formed their social circle, whether by choice or just circumstance. And what I mean by that is you go to college, you graduate, all of your friends move away. Most people, in fact, it's in America, it's something like 80% of Americans live within 50 miles of their hometown. It is remarkable how, and it's because for most people, for the overwhelming number of people, they have family, they have friends, they have a life, they have a social support system. So for those people who graduate from college, and this is why for a whole lot of young adults, especially young men, post-high school, post-college can be terrifying because not only do you not quite know what you're supposed to do next, obviously get a job, get an apartment, find a spouse, have a family, 2.3 kids, the white picket fence, American dream, all of that. But because all of a sudden you find yourself somewhat alone. Now imagine if not only are you alone, but also you're in such a psychologically fragile state that something like an election, everybody gets bummed about elections, right? Heaven knows, as the guy who has had to say for the last pretty much 15 years of my life, we can now project that Tony Evers will be the next governor of Wisconsin. We can now project Barack Obama will be the next president of the United States. Believe me, I get being bummed out about elections. But it never affected me to the point where, sure, it would affect my mood. Not quite as much as a Packers playoff loss, maybe. Talk about all the things to be unnaturally upset about, but I think every guy in Wisconsin feels at least some sadness. I'm telling you that what is it called? The Brian Bostic game, the Seattle game, that stayed with me for like a week. I was in a daze. The Terrell Owens was a big one. That was Holmgren's last game. The Terrell Owens games, was that the one where Jerry Rice fumbled? Yeah, I always remember it as the Jerry Rice fumble game. The 4th and 26 game. Like, it impacts you, but it's a temporary thing. It's like, oh man, that's disappointing. I'm sad. When you are so psychologically fragile that external events, which, let's face it, you really don't have much control over, and really to a very minimal degree affect your life, then when you blow those up into your mind thinking, well, that's not true. It's going to affect every aspect of my life, who the president is. No, it really isn't. Still going to go to work in the morning. Still going to have your morning coffee. Your wife is still going to be there when you get home from work. Your personal life doesn't really change that. How much money you pay to the government, policies that you might not like, sure, that changes. But overall, your life doesn't. When, however, you believe that it does, and you put these things on such a pedestal, give them such meaning and such importance that you're terrified of them, it's a real problem. And that's the time where you need people who love and care about you the most. And look, I know, and please don't misunderstand. I understand not everybody. I realize how blessed I am to have such a great relationship with my parents, my in-laws, so much so I'm living with them for the last 6 months. With my brothers, with my wife's brothers, with just family and close friends. I realize that's not for everything. You know, there's abuse, there's trauma associated. I get that. I do. But what I'm talking about is whether it's blood family, biological family, or friends, or whomever, when you are willingly self-isolating because of something as superficial as political differences, you're ultimately harming yourself. And this is what's so troubling to me about people like Joy Reid, normalizing the idea of not just not getting together at Thanksgiving or Christmas, but just sort of cutting those people who might otherwise support you out of your life. It's about the worst advice you could give. I long for the days when people like Joy Reid were assuming their viewers were stupid and putting together step-by-step guides to arguing with their Iraq war supporting. This is when I first noticed this, by the way. It was during the Iraq War, George W. Bush era. How to argue with your uncle about Obamacare. Remember that one? That was with Pajama Boy. Remember that? It was the metrosexual looking dude who was wearing pajamas, holding a mug very effeminately of hot chocolate. Said, sip hot cocoa, wear pajamas, talk about health care. We made fun of that one for about a year straight. I long for those days. Now it's isolate yourself from everybody who doesn't think like you do because they are a threat to you. No, what's the real threat is anyone telling anyone to do that. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, digging a little deeper with conservative thought, not just talk.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, host of the Designer Yard Show and owner of Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services. Allow me to start by apologizing for the use of a 4-letter word in this commercial. If you don't like 4-letter words, you might want to turn down your volume. All right, are we good? Snow. There, I said it. One of my duties at Seasonal Services is to plan for winter and the onslaught of snow and ice. Are you responsible for securing a snow removal and ice control contractor for your commercial property? Now is the time to act. If you wait, you may be too late to secure one of southeastern Wisconsin's best snow and ice removal contractors. So if you own or manage a commercial property in Waukesha or western Milwaukee counties, please call Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services. We have been providing snow removal and ice control services for 25 years, and we are really good at keeping your commercial property safe. 262-392-3444 or online at seasonalservices.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha Fleet and Specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Dan Small here. Join me for the latest info on your favorite outdoor activities. Saturday morning at 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Brought to you by Remy Battery, serving Milwaukee since 1931. RemyBattery.com.
Need a tree on the ground now? Cut and Go offers same-day or next-day half-service tree removal. We do the dangerous part, putting the trees on the ground in orderly fashion. You do the cleanup. A Trees and Tons movement. CutandGoTrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity, and as you know, I am not afraid to be honest and say exactly what I feel. When it comes to selling your home, you need to know Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Just go to wihomeeval.com.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, made for Wisconsin, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Hi, I'm Steve Winters with Brighter Concepts. The best things in life are revealed in natural light, and solar tube daylighting brings that natural light indoors. Our technology captures sunlight from every angle and guides it through the world's most reflective tubes. Then it delivers that light beautifully into your home or business. You'll call it brilliant. Learn more and take advantage of a 30% federal tax credit. Contact Brighter Concepts, your Wisconsin solar tube dealer, at 414-332-9050. That's 414-332-9050.
Blue Mountain Express. We're gonna put a smile on your face. We make it easy. BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Blue Mountain Express, moving and storage, statewide.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
This Thanksgiving, spend more time with your loved ones and leave the meal preparation to us. At Sendix, we offer full traditional turkey dinners or just the sides. All homemade, in-store, then packed in reheatable containers. Choose from a wide selection of gourmet appetizers and signature trays, too. Spend less time in the kitchen and more time with family this holiday season. Reserve your meal at Sendix.com/holiday. From our family to yours, have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Sendix Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlands.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Richlands.
This holiday season, join the Salvation Army to make a difference. Visit salvationarmywi.org and donate today.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, a tour de force of truth, the sort of truth you might have once gotten from the rest of the media, but now it's obscured, it's covered up, and that is never going to happen here. Reminder, tomorrow, Rush Limbaugh's story, the real story of the first Thanksgiving. During the commercial break, sometimes we'll just peruse every local news site, every couple of national sites that I go to, just in case. I've got X up pretty much the entire show. I sort of use that, as I've explained, as a news ticker. But I'll very quickly just go through the local sites in case there's something that I need to bring up, in case there's something that I need to talk about. Top story posted jsonline.com, 9:51 a.m. Wisconsin turns to a battle over the Supreme Court's ideological control. We just got out of an election. I sort of feel like Michael Corleone. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Shades of 2023, this might actually eclipse that election in terms of total amount of money spent. You might remember Janet Protasewicz defeated Dan Kelly for Liberals to take control of the court for the first time in 15 years. Conservatives can flip it right back. Ann Walsh Bradley has announced that she's not going to seek another term, and the Liberal that the Democratic Party just recently endorsed is Susan Crawford. She is a far-left judge who is going to be running, again, by the way, she's Dane County Circuit Court judge. Just by me saying far-left judge, you probably recognized what court she was at. You had a 50% chance. It was either Milwaukee or it was Dane. For conservatives, Brad Schimmel, who most recently served as Waukesha County Circuit Court judge. He was district attorney in Waukesha and then, of course, served for 8 years as Wisconsin's attorney general. 2 years ago, there was more than $50 million spent on this race. Not 15, 50. It was the most expensive judicial race in American history by a long shot. You'd better believe, with an all-important governor's race coming up the following year, this April's election is going to be massive. Now, with the Republicans pretty much lining up against Schimmel, they want to avoid what happened 2 years ago, where Kelly, who had announced pretty much a year earlier that he was going to try to win back his seat, which he had lost in 2020 to Joe Karofsky in the COVID election. He was saying, well, I was screwed by COVID. It was just a unique thing. He lost by 10 points. And then, of course, he lost by 11 to Protasewicz. He was just swamped with all of the money coming in. Well, now conservatives have a couple of big money donors of their own, most notably Elon Musk. And anyone in conservative politics and Republican Party politics needs to start right now explaining to Musk just how important Wisconsin's Supreme Court race is. Schimmel will be the conservative nominee. In fact, I can't think of anybody who's even weighing a bid. Once he announced, everybody sort of dropped potential plans to get in. Crawford was one of the names that I had heard in liberal circles was going to run, but there were a couple of others who might have been able to make it a contest. But Democrats and liberals have learned long ago that bruising primaries do nothing except bloody up the eventual winner. Most famous example of them understanding this lesson was the U.S. Senate race in 2022, when everybody except deadbeat Barnes suddenly got out of the race. Sarah Godlewski was rewarded with the Secretary of State position, and she is almost certainly going to be the Democrats' nominee the next time Ron Johnson is up for re-election in 2028. But in 2026, we have a governor's race. We have an attorney general's race. We have a chance to flip control of state government back to Republicans. But in the interim, the liberal court is going to do everything in its power to try to undo all of the progress that Republicans made the last time we controlled both the governor's mansion and the state legislature. In the Scott Walker era, we got, of course, Act 10, which almost certainly is on the chopping block. We got voter ID. We got right to work. And we got a state that is in much better financial health than almost every other because of all of the savings that were realized primarily by Act 10. We also have elections which are still deeply problematic in some areas, looking at you, City of Milwaukee, but run a whole lot better because now we have ID requirements. It makes it much more difficult to cheat. We retake the governor's mansion, we retake the AG's office, and we keep the legislative majority. We can enact the Florida model of vote counting. We can force Milwaukee to report all of its totals by 9:30 p.m. on election night. We can get a day before vote preparation bill finally passed with much tougher restrictions. Evers has said if there's any requirement tacked onto that bill, the Monday voting bill, it's called, or Monday count bill, it's not totally accurate. It's more that they prepare the ballots to be run through the machine the following day once polls open, but they'll check the signature, they'll check the thing. They do it the day before under this bill. The state Senate, there were a couple of members who didn't want this for whatever reason, because, it just makes it easier for people to cheat. I question how, when Florida's been doing this forever, and there's never been a suggestion of election improprieties in Florida, and you get every Republican attorney in the state descending on Central Count to watch every single thing that's done. I just don't see a downside here. But Evers said if any requirement that, say, Democrat areas are forced to report their vote totals before anybody else or at the same time everybody else does, which would seem to be fair, he's going to veto the legislation. Take Evers out of the equation, and Evers is, folks, just almost certainly not going to run in 2026. It's probably not going to happen. But given the fact, and last time I said this, I misspoke. There have been only 2 times since Wisconsin went to 4-year terms for governor that someone has won the governor's mansion while his party was in office. Tony Evers did. I said the only person who ever do it was Tommy. Evers did it in 2022. It's just very rare that it happens because the party that's out of power is so angry about losing the prior presidential election that they turn out in droves, and typically the midterms for the president's party are bad. The first midterm, Trump is a little different because he's a second-term president, but it's probably going to be more likely than not in 26 a Democrat year. There are some good candidates out there, but I would very strongly urge you not to either look ahead to 2026 or rest on your laurels from the great victory we just had in 2024. I want you to take away the lessons from Hovde's loss. And that is, if you don't turn out, if there is some sort of spoiler candidate in this race, and what's nice about the judicial elections is that there are only 2. These are nonpartisan elections. So the only third-party candidates, or, I mean, technically they're not first or second party, but you understand what I'm saying. They would be eliminated in the primary. The issue is going to be, once again, that Democrats have already started. Now, I'm heartened to see that Americans for Prosperity, Turning Point Action, they have already turned their attention to this state Supreme Court race. But Schimmel and his team and all of these groups need to nationalize it. You need to make the focus reforming Wisconsin's election laws, getting Wisconsin more in line with the conservative majority that was just elected in this country, and enacting conservative and protecting conservative reforms from the bench. One of the biggest revolutions in judicial elections in Wisconsin used to be, do you remember Loophole Louis Butler? Gableman beat him in, what was that, 2008, maybe 2010, somewhere back, maybe even 2006. Butler tried desperately to avoid the label of soft on crime liberal. Loophole Louie was a nickname given to him by either Seitz or Belling, or maybe both, because he found a legal loophole to get a just heinous criminal out, and the ad, Gableman just hammered him. I forget the perp's name, but Gableman just hammered him on that. Jill Karofsky, Janet Protasewicz, Rebecca Dell, pretty much every one of the justices now in the majority has run on being an unabashed lib. Dallett, to some extent, in 2018, tried to pretend that she was, maybe 2019. No, 2019 was Hagedorn, I believe. 18 was Dallett. She tried to pretend that she wasn't somewhat. Karofsky totally leaned into it. Janet Protasewicz went so far as to repeatedly violate the Code of Judicial Conduct by saying exactly how she would rule on cases. Remember, we made fun of the Janet voice. The maps are rigged. She openly said it repeatedly. She said, well, Roe v. Wade should be the law of the land. You're not allowed to do that as a sitting judge. You're not allowed to say exactly how you would rule on a case that's almost certainly going to come before you. The violation of the Code of Judicial Conduct. But the point is, she ran as a liberal. If you don't have someone running as an unabashed conservative, as someone who's willing to speak out on controversial issues, someone who's willing to go on the attack, and I believe Schimmel is. I think Schimmel's a great candidate. You're going to lose these elections, but the most important thing, and it is a big one, is money. One thing I know, Crawford will be incredibly well funded. The ads are going to start, if they haven't already. We might be able to get through the Christmas season without seeing attack ads on Brad Schimmel, but they are coming. Just look at the Jody Habush-Sinekin-Dewey Strobel race. Amounts of money that were previously unheard of, not thought possible in a state Senate race. Same thing 2 years ago with Protasewicz. We did not think that it was possible to spend as much money as was spent on the state Supreme Court race, almost all of it coming from out of state and going to Janet Protasewicz. We need to be ready. We need to fight it, and we need to take back the Wisconsin Supreme Court. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Stepping aside for a break. We'll be right back in just a second.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
If you're someone who hears love and thinks about a quarterback instead of romance, you're primed to listen to Green Bay Grapevine on WISN. Before and after every game, hard-boiled reporter Mark Daniels tells Jay Weber and his morning show audience about all of the trends and subtleties swirling around the green and gold.
Green Bay Grapevine is presented by Bob's Glass in Waukesha, featuring installation of glorious glass shower doors. If it's anything glass, think Bob's Glass. Bobs-glass.com.
Hello, commercial customers. This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center, and it's end-of-the-year tax planning season. We've continued to work hard sourcing over 400 of the best GM, Hino, and Isuzu commercial trucks from all over the country. Most are ready to go, and some are ready for your custom upfit. The best part? All of our trucks qualify for the Section 179 tax deduction for 2024. Now, I know you're busy running your business, but we've made it easy. Go to lynchtruckcenter.com. Select your truck and click on the green button on each truck page to instantly see potential tax savings. For example, if you buy a $50,000 truck at a 22% tax rate, you'll get $11,000 in potential tax savings. You can deduct 100% of the purchase price from your 2024 taxes. Essentially, the truck will only cost you $39,000. Remember, we are in the truck business, not accountants. So be sure to verify these tax savings with your tax professional. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com today. We won't disappoint you.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. Orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Dan Dan O'Donnell here. I've been telling you about the superheroes over at Current Electric, the great work they've done in our community for over 40 years. Current Electric is offering a free 1-hour seminar on October 23rd to unlock the economic benefits of solar power for commercial buildings. So if you're a commercial building owner or operator, sign up for this free online seminar and learn how solar energy can transform your business bottom line. October 23rd from noon to 1. Go to callcurrent.com.
Accident Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
Those who don't have 20/20 vision usually do something about it. But many who can't breathe freely through their nose just live with it, not realizing they can have 20/20 breathing. At Advent, we're out to change that. With 20/20 breathing, you'll have fewer sinus infections, more energy, you'll sleep better, and you will live better. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. In 2006, Advent pioneered the balloon sinuplasty procedure. And since, thousands of our patients can tell you this simple 20-minute in-office solution really works. Balloon sinuplasty can give you 20/20 breathing so you can breathe freely through both nostrils with your mouth closed day and night. And that can change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
When they say free, they really mean check the fine print. They say free iPhone, but only if you trade in your $1,000 phone, pay $100 a month for unlimited data, and also a $35 activation fee. Now, Pure Talk, they have a better option. You'll get a brand new iPhone 14 with unlimited talk, text, 15 gigabytes of data, mobile hotspot for just $50 a month. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk.
Central banks worldwide are sending a signal. They're buying gold at record prices because they need to. The massive debt Trump is inheriting, the uncertainty. Think about it. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and use promo code TRUMP. You'll get up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar with a qualifying account. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Talk about another election 20 days after the last one. But hey, California is still counting votes, so it's entirely possible we'll still be talking about the Supreme Court election well into May. Is this one more important than the last one? Oh, in terms of affecting their lives than the presidential race? Yes, it is up there. It is absolutely up there. And people always are like, well, how, Dan? How? Because the government that is closest to you is the one that impacts your life the most. Local government, your local school board, those are the ones that have a huge impact on your life. County government, less. State government, somewhat less than that. I would argue county government is largely unnecessary, so it's whoever is levying taxes invariably has the most impact on your life. So outside of tax policy at the federal level, you don't have day-to-day interactions with federal policy. I mean, you do, but it's not direct. It's not as direct as how many police officers are on your streets, if your garbage is picked up on time, if the streets are clean, if there's a homeless camp down the street, those sorts of things. I want to leave you with this, though. Going back to November of 2016, poll asked favorability of Trump's transition. How is Trump handling his transition? People said they liked how he was handling it, by 1 percentage point. Yesterday, CBS asked that question. By 18%, people say they approve of Trump's transition. Sorry, libs. He really did win with a mandate. Back tomorrow here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.